Dumbo, Jungden, Dijin, Shepan, Rajumba, Yanda, Zobe, Sange, Riva, Dan, Shazun, Dimba, Devara, Sheba, Jidin, Jumba, Jebu, Dive, Kalu, Girva, Lana, Meba, Lada, Minam, Git, Dumbo, Sange, Jungden, Debe, Yewa, Shagya, Tubala, Chadra, Shodo jazo je o do bo jom de je shamba ra jom ba yanda bo zo be sange re ba da sha de ban de wa ra she ba ji de ge ma ge u du e ka lo gyur ba la na me ba adam de na ge do bo sange jom de be ge wa sha ya tu ba la sha lo ju bu jia zu che wo dong ba zhong den de jin xie wan ra zhong ba yang da bo zo be san ye re ba dong xia zi den ba de wo re xie ba ji den jian ba ji wo du we ka lo ju ba la na me ba la da me nam ge dong ba san ge zhong den de be ge wa xia dia tu ba la cha de 吃度家族接我刚的刚你做觉当的撒钱的老公包中国人呢，俺的节点的那就接送的在给我就拉家子喽。南大公啊，求的是让我一起家族世界龙凤的。让我今天从那拉美我公布去你去了家子，先就点把真美的微笑，先多着我去了家子，对着就那西瓜子马街，娘们天天去了家子，公布出去今天把，他们这天白等宝宝。Sana yande gyasa jin de jin shala cha tselo na be de ja je wa gyu ge we nye son le ro jin chi de da no ju ju ba shi gyu ja la cha tselo ra ne to we la yang de la ba da la ro de ne Shinge dambo yun den gen du la ya cha so. Deba chiyam me cha shin ge wa kun sun so bar ge. Range sem ne yong su tu ne ne san ge tian ba yin. Karma ra re ma me dang gyu ma se pa chu re dang. Nilam lo dang rin da gu di ji chu nan di tar da. So nam di tam che si pa yi. Ko ba lo ne kyun gyun ra du de. Ka da na dan shi we la chu de. Si we so le ro wa chu wa re shu. To the founder, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, Lord of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. When, as the king among humans, you were born on this earth, you paced out 7 strides and said, I am supreme in this world. To you who were wise then I prostrate. With pure body, form supremely pure, wisdom ocean like a golden mountain, fame that blazes in the 3 worlds, winner of the best floor, to you I prostrate. With the supreme signs, face like the spotless moon, color like gold, to you I prostrate. You are immaculate, 3 worlds are not. Incomparably wise one, to you I prostrate. The Savior having great compassion, the Founder having all understanding, the field of merit with qualities like a vast ocean, to you, the one gone to thusness, I prostrate. The purity which makes one free from attachment, the virtue which frees one from the lower realms, the one path, the sublime pure reality, to that dharma which pacifies, I prostrate. those who are liberated and who also show the path to liberation, the holy field qualified with realizations, who are devoted to the moral precepts. To you, the sublime community and tending virtue, I prosper. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions. Perform only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a mirage, a flame of a lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cow. See conditioned things as such. Through these merits may sentient beings attain the rank of all-seeing, subdue the foe of faults, and be delivered from samsara's ocean, perturbed by waves of aging, sickness, and death. Number dashing kumbo ngabo de da yang ranging ge dong par number tao ene sangi ge tu se dan den ba shari bu anju semba semba jembo baba jere se wanju la de ge jeme so riji bu kana la shera gi paru du jemba sama jeba jeba de ba de jidar la baraja Nege jemle badam janju semba semba jembo baba jere se wanju ge sedan demba shari da dembo la dege jeme so shari bu Riji buan rigi bu mu kan la la shara ke varu de jemba samo jeba jeba deba de de dar nambara ta wa cha de bumbo mambo de da yan ra shin ji dombra namba yan da ba je ze ta wo su domba ne su so su le domba ne shen ma yin domba ne le yang su shen ma yin no she shen do to wa dan du she dan nambara sheba nam domba wo shari bu de da she dam she domba ne de tsini me ba ma ge ba ma ga ba tri ma me ba tri ma dan she Kewa me ba kama me ba wo shari bu de da we na domba ni la su me so me du ji me nambar she ba me mi me na wa me na me che me lu me yi me su me dra me ri me ru me re ja me che me do me gi ga me ba ne yi gi ga me yi gi nambar she be ga ge ba de yo me do ma ri ba se ba me ga shi se be ba de Duge wadang kujo wadang goba dang lame ishi me toba me ma toba ya me do shari bu de da wana janju semba na toba me be shiru shiragi paru do chemba la tenji ne de semba tepa me jir taba me Shinje lo le shindu de ne nyangen le de be thara shindu de sundu nambar shube sangi tamji kyo shiragi paru do chemba la tene lana me bayan da ba zo be janju de mumbar zo bar sangi zo de da we na shiragi paru do chembe nga riba chembe nga lana me be nga minyamba da nyambe nga donga danji rade shivar shive nga Mizun wena dembra sheba jade shirage paru du simbe nga me bataya ta gade para gade buddhi so shari bu janju samba jimbo de da shirage paru du simbe samola labra chao ene zande de tenge zendele shende janju samba jimbo baba jele se wanju la le so she jawa jine lekso rigi hu de shino de shinde chedara chuje temba shindu sheragi paru de jimba samo la jebra jade de jin sheba nam jan jede yaram shonde de ge che ka sene sedan temba shari da di budan janju samba jembo baba shire se wanju da tamje dan jembe ko de da dan ha me dan lama yin dan di sa shebe jide yiram de chom den de je sumba la mumba te do. Page 11. Thus I have heard, once the Blessed One was dwelling in a Grihan vulture's peak, together with the great assembly of monks and bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One was totally absorbed in the concentration that examines all phenomena called profound illumination. And at the same time, the noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, was engaged in the profound practice of the wisdom gone beyond, analyzing the five aggregates by nature empty. Then, through the inspiration of the Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra spoke to the noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, saying, how should those of good family learn who wish to follow the profound practice of the wisdom gone beyond? Thus he spoke, and the noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, replied to the Venerable Shariputra, saying, O Shariputra, whatever son or daughter of good family wishes to follow the profound practice of the wisdom gone beyond, should look at it like this, analyzing the five aggregates by nature empty. Form is empty, emptiness is form, emptiness is no other than form, form is no other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, recognition, karmic formations, and consciousness are all empty. Therefore, Shariputra, all phenomena are empty without characteristics. They are unborn and unceasing. They are neither impure nor free from impurity. They neither decrease nor increase. Therefore, Shariputra, in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no recognition, no karmic formations, no consciousness. There is no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind. There are no spheres of the eyes, no spheres of the mind. There are none of these all the way up to the sphere of mental consciousness. There is no ignorance, nor is there destruction of ignorance. There are none of these all the way up to, there is no old age and death, nor is there destruction of old age and death. Thus there is no suffering, no cause of suffering, no cessation of suffering, and no path. There is no wisdom, no attainment, and no non-attainment. Therefore, Shariputra, because there is no attainment, all bodhisattvas hold to the wisdom gone beyond, and because there is no obscurity of mind, they have no fear. Passing utterly beyond falsity, they reach beyond the bounds of sorrow. All the Buddhas who dwell in the three times, by relying on the wisdom gone beyond, fully and clearly awakened to unsurpassed, most perfect and complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of the wisdom gone beyond, the mantra of great insight, the unequaled and unsurpassed mantra, the mantra that calms all suffering should be known as the truth, for there is no deception. The mantra of the wisdom gone beyond is proclaimed. Dayadar Gade Gade Bharagade Bharasam Gade Bhuddha. Oh, Shariputra, this is how a Bodhisattva Mahasattva should learn the profound wisdom gone beyond. Then the Blessed One rose from that concentration and placed in the Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, saying, very good, very good, O son of good family, it is exactly like that. The profound wisdom gone beyond should be practiced exactly as you have said, and then the Tathagatas will rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, the Venerable Shariputra, the noble Avalokiteshvara, that whole gathering in the world with its gods, men, anti-gods, and spirit, their hearts full of joy, praise the words of the Blessed One. So ends the noble discourse on the essence of the wisdom gone beyond.
아니요. 하여튼 진짜지. 다 주주고 진짜 주주고 진짜 와서 사고 다 주주고 진짜 돼서 방도 되게 주주고 없어. 주주 그거 제가 다 만나는 지어봐도 두 봐서 지어봐서 가르쳐 봐서 지어봐 자주 생겨 지어봐. 자주 생겨 지어봐 가르치는 주고를 했어 나는. 자주 생겨 지어봐도 주고 해야 되는데 자주 생겨 지어봐디 아니 다 하장게 배 저바 상보 저바디 제바다 때네 아니라는 동에 탐지를 탈 투바다 대화 탐지다 댐바 되게 가가 용하게 저바된 장주스면 저바된 인상 텔러러 버치고 야래서 보지
Today, this lesson is a lesson in the way of the Bodhisattva. The way of the Bodhisattva concerns us on Thursdays. The training in the way of the Bodhisattva, how to enter into the very same behaviors as the Bodhisattva. And what are they and why would one? For the reason that the behavior of Bodhisattvas is exceptionally excellent. Based upon this conduct, one achieves everything in the way of well-being and satisfaction, and for that reason, then one trains in the way of the Bodhisattva.
이제 다음도 찬주 선을 투바 이나 아니 다랑라 대화 토비야 대화제 여봐다 찬주 선을 말로나 아니 다 대화 제발도 파봐 다 토비야 매봐 오 되게 참지 요래서
And so, by training in the mind of awakening bodhicitta, one becomes capable of experiencing everything one wishes for by way of satisfaction. But failing to train in the awakening mind of bodhicitta, those satisfactions that are best of all, they will not be one by one.
오이 다 되네 다 이내 아주 직박에 대화식이 대화라다 리도 대화들라 소화 대화던 뒤시 대화 자 지난 용라시는 일에서
When we speak of satisfaction or pleasure, and the kinds of pleasure there are, generally speaking, those that are sensory pleasures and those that are the pleasures of discrimination.
다 단단한 쪽이 지존하는 먼저 대부 유에다매 나 기부 유에다매 나 동해매 나 기부 인세게 말하는 지윤기 삼로 당당한 나라 아니 대두디 소화 대두 차대요 그래서
Generally, in worldly society, when we speak of being well or not, happy or not, we refer to the sensory experience of pleasure.
소화 대두 생기니까 아니 이제 간단한 말하면서 메시지 이마지 로직 메시지 코드가 기호다 마치 봐서 코드 제시되나는 저도 그래서
The whole framework then of satisfaction in the worldly sense, based upon sense and feeling, is something that is exhausted, whether it's after one day or 1 year or at the end, one lifetime.
예, 세상 코 tempo 매봐. 6월 주죠. 단 대화체 동해체도 받는 코코라점이 대대야마도 왜 대화랑 신은 동해체는 매봐 대화신이 내 통해서 타지 요 말해서
Nowhere is it stable or lasting. It is ever changing in a cycle of satisfactions and dissatisfactions.
예, 제가 이 대화 소화 대화되고 내가 그 대화를 그 대화 양타봐 말해. 다 대화 양타봐 생각이 당아도 전주 심지 심배 대화 생각이 뒤식 대화 생각이 다 뒤식 대화 생각 자고해서
Satisfaction in this sense, satisfaction which is sensory and feeling based, will only ever be temporary. It is not perfect satisfaction, not perfect bliss. Perfect satisfaction, bliss, is that which is of discrimination.
예. 다 뒤인도 만족이 다 받는 냠내 징이지 차는 샵 그래서 쉐바 이나스 다 받는 거랑서 세대기 다 기도 삼로 땅니 최치인 삼바전 최치인 지겨 양지 수수그 랑기 동에 메디어바단 대화 되베 주센 삼네 아니 최치당 림바치겨 최치당 진이 지겨래서 다 오늘 단에베 동해 탐지바 랑다 신 탐지기 동해 탐지바 세 대화 탐지 두투야게 아니 다 냠내 제지가 냠내 신이 강사지 어딘데 얼마 많고 열애서
From the standpoint of practice, from the perspective of a person who may be in practice, there are those who undertake dharma with a view only to this life and pleasure and displeasure within this life, and those who recognize pain to be unwanted and pleasure to be desirable and to practice accordingly. But then there is too those who, for the well-being of both themselves but of others as well, wish to establish all in lasting well-being and to part all from pain.
예. 배나 세대기 당기 비두로 삼로 땅네 아니 최제가 이나양 최지교되게 세대기 그둘러 교와 땅 투구를 위해서는 가보시라 해서
But in view of pleasure and displeasure within just this life alone, concentrated upon this and practicing dharma, is there much change to be seen, any satisfaction to be garnered on life?
가르치네스다 남산 셈나라 이 야고치네 대화 가르친 덕부 말해서 남산 셈나 덕바사기로 덕바사 저 단계로 제단다 세디기 디두 당갈로 세디기 제백이 되고 말해 생오마기 제백이 되고 차대요 제가 생오마기 랑게 야고 생오 랑게 고마기 되고 야고 제여나 세딜라 대화 토베다 생오마도 야고 제면은 세딜라 대화 마토베 그 주제기 그러다 차대요 그래서
And why is it so? A person will wonder, why wouldn't I experience satisfaction? We doubt it and ask about it. Why wouldn't this be satisfaction for us? And it is for the reason that any satisfaction experienced in this life is the consequence of a past lifetime's action. What one has done well in the past, one experiences as the consequence in pleasure in the present life. And anything one has not done well in the past comes around as the painful consequence in the present. And this is karmic causality.
계속 세딜라 원에 랑 세딜라 레 상고스 대화 되니 대화 되니 대화 두고 이유나 다 장주고 있으면 라면 지난 지도야 자기 찍이요 진대만도 시다 가고 싶어라 해서
Really, then, concerned with satisfaction in the present life, one would engage in virtue, and one does so recognizing satisfaction is what is desirable, and it is brought about through virtue. Virtue is its cause. Now, in order for virtue to be undertaken, if the mind of awakening bodhicitta is in place, then it can be.
이따 디인디스다 상로 가르래 버스나 세디기 치딜 치 장주 셈 많이 박치 랑 치 간지 체바 이나양 세디기 디둘라 요와 땅 두고 말았어 직 파티시 잡사레스 직세 다 디인디 잡아 다 단단 아주 치 제거하고 균생 다 가르래 가르치 치시나 가르뱅게래 가르친 치 쳐버려서 다 저거 대체 다디 가르치는 채워 저거라서는 딱 맞아 치만 대화 제기 대화 치만 대화 생기지 여러와 어디 다 대화도 그거 이유나 다 다들 도약 두지 다다 인자 아니 제진 치치로 해서
Thinking, concerned with this present life and satisfaction in it, yet not directed by the awakening mind of bodhicitta, a person engaged otherwise in dharma, differently, will find no change in satisfaction in the present life. That point is made now. Then, how is it helpful to practice the dharma? Why would one engage in dharma? One does so recognizing successive lives, a subsequent life, and the satisfaction that one would find then. And should one wish for satisfaction then, now is the moment to make its cause.
치만 대화도 대화 오늘 교화 매매 교화 만들어야게 대화도 오늘 차대 열었다 니 루비아 톱당 수술을 열에 루비아가 차지한 수술을 열에 룸는 루투그래 다들 루비아가 뒤져대 다들 딱 맞아 해서
Satisfactions in successive lives are the satisfactions that are unchanging. Really, well-being. We presently have the capacity to see to it, the conditions supportive to it, we are capable of realizing it, and the present is the perfect time to do so.
삼로 땅 수수 삼로 수수 누구도 수수 삼로 땅나 뭐만 대화 용 사저대 양차에 대화 용에 대한 수수로 와서 단다 대화 유에는 누구 있는데 용에 대해 삼 수수랑 레디로 와서 마음발로 용에 대한 수수랑 레마도 심바 말해서 제가 뒤인데 남의 대화는 양차가 삼로 땅에 좀 셈나 대화 해야지 말고 개요 말해 단대 대화들이 다 수수 용심 말에 쉬우쉬우 유와 땅에 개요 말해 다 마음 같은 유와 땅 고거 열에 땅나 팬도 열에 땅 투그래 예벌도 이 땅고 해서 말이야.
Reflect on it. Look to yourself, recalling my personal experiences of satisfaction were experienced by none other than me, myself. The experiences I'm having now, pleasant and unpleasant, they are only experienced by me, myself, and later too, I, myself, and no other will experience pain and pleasure. Yet the past experiences, painful experiences, are but a memory now. Whatever it is I experience presently, I'm experiencing presently and cannot change it very much. All the change that I can see to will take place in the future. It may be changed. When it is transformed, it is to my advantage, so I must make that transformation.
예. 이제 삼로 땅도 빼줘 고도나 아니 빼나 계산 감수 칼라사여로 계산 칼라사니 칼라 신부 중위나니 배 신부 중외 수술을 템바이어 신부 중매는 신부 마중에 템바이어로 신 가지고 되어 드링 칼라사디 다수 수에서 칼라디스 조제 칼라 유디 잠바 다 신부 유네 수술 칼라를 사오 신부 매네 사야디 임바로와 이네 고슈 주와 땅 토에 미도아스 다 사니지 칼라디 사니 수술에 신부 속에 있는 수술하고 요래 신부 마수는 수술하고 요래 와서는 사니 수술에 신마시 대 수술 연구를 봐도 매일 연구 말아 이 친구가 지금 알아야 손지.
And if you need an example to further illustrate this, think of yesterday's meal, what you ate. If it was delicious, it was delicious. So it is, and that's what you remember. Or if it was not, then it was not, and that's what you remember, whatever the case may be. And today, when you sit down at the table and the food is before you, whether it is good or not, you must eat it. That is the meal that you have at present, what you eat. But if there's any change you would make, tomorrow's meal will be consumed by none other than you and would be made by none other than you. You are able to make the meal that you would have tomorrow.
지 리버티가 가사 갈쇼. 배낭 한다 뭐만 한다 나저 기부 밀르레 베랑라 라와 요바 텐데 기부 요바다 라라 베 토다마 뭐 요바 되게 소녀들이 뭐만 랑이 껴 뭐만 랑들 차대요. 단다 이 제부디 양에 대한 수술에 다 마음 발라 대두 가리 양고고 있나에 수술 내사가 제부 용고로 봐 용에 대한 수술 안 레마도 지기디 용 제만 용에 대 가가지 단다 산이 주산이 가가 제부 양에 가가 되 말에 가가 제부 산이 주산이 수술에 제부 양에 수술에 그래서 디 리버티다 주제 리버토 삼로 땅으로 해서
This would be applied everywhere. In the present, fortunate experience of a happy human rebirth with all of its freedoms was brought about by oneself in their past existence, or whatever pain one experiences presently, it was made for by oneself in past existence and life. Accumulated karmas are accumulated by oneself and experienced again by oneself. It isn't as though yesterday's cause put in place by you will be experienced by another tomorrow. The cause is by you and the result is experienced by you, and this is the reason following karmic causality.
Oh, yeah. 세상 가정 어서 주주하다 주주 예산이죠. 가정 걸 루모만 가리어 세 디기 대화다 동행스라나 배 모호찬의 춘주 되기 전에 춘주 배 장기 전에 체여 봐. 데리지레스 치매 대화스라나 하장 그 망보 첨부 세매 봐. 오 근데 이들 치매 대화도 저거래 세 디기 대화도 비어 말했다. 이 순고야 해서
Those of you who have listened in the past to the way of the Bodhisattva know in preceding chapters that pleasure and displeasure, pleasure and pain, concerned with this life, are in their nature limited. They are in duration, of short duration. They are finite. Differently successive lives with successive experience of pleasure and pain are in their nature very great. They are long-lasting. They are infinite. And for that reason, it is said in the way of the Bodhisattva, it isn't pleasure in this life that is the objective, but in successive lives.
딱 기본도 가르쳐야지는 최고의 인생 최치는 매유 가리임에 따뜻 드시자기 그래서
What is found in there, within that, the very purpose of the Dharma practice?
다 근데 이들 다 말아서 그게 다 아다 규다 제부고 남샤다 시험도 규다 깬 안달고 가지고 다 즉 소액의 내당 이내자 랑이 대두고 내당 탐제로 아니 규다 깬을 때니 중화 아니 규다 깬을 때니 중화인도 규다 깬디 라니 강을 주에게 규다 깬디 아니 야패 마 집시도 디 드부들라양 피디 야패와도 드바 근데 요구여레스 제가 규다 제분이 아들 드리버텔 때네 아니 다 제부대둘라양 요와도요와도 패딩 지야요바 이제디 규들라야 패딩 도와요바 이래 삼노탄 요구여레스 마
Within the law of karmic causality, as is mentioned above regarding causes and conditions, we, whether in our experiences in our very survival or generally of pain and pleasure, experience transpires from its causes and conditions. Wherever there is increase and decrease, wax and wane in causes and conditions for given consequences, the results to wax and wane. This is the consequence emerging from its cause. This is the rationale here. Wherever there is the experience of changing pleasure and pain, this returns one to the cause for these, which is a waxing and waning in causes and conditions for these.
Oh yes, 세상다 되게 인도 남 저기 근데 유디라 삼지도 유디야 패도 유패 유디 삼지도 마팁 이제 지로와 디나지 제발할 때는 지부대야 패와다 유마 디바틀리기 제 요바 인도 다 가르쳐야 했으나 다 말한 쪽이 되게 유다 지부 바게 저와 진얘기 아니 나스나다 네 셈스나다 마다 네 셈스 지어와 제자다 딜라양 아니 그 페이지 드라이버 주어 드라이버 되게 주어 당기 요바 주어 드라이버 어디 다 맞아 공부고요 이 거면 또 내가 직들해서
지금이 쭉쭉 되어요. 아니 딩화스는데 아니 심스는데 아니 교로 땅킹 임비잖아요.
요거 두고 요바다 요바 땅게 다저 땅에로디 그게 다 그게 간다 레기 필요도 섹셔와 어디다 내기래 필요도지 이거 저거데 필요도 왔다 데 땅에 되니 저다 셈다 저거 요바 그대로 와.
So where causes mount and causes recede, and consequently results appear and results disappear, what is then incumbent upon one? The recognition of oneself as causal actor, whether to call one I myself as actor or one's mind as actor, one as agent makes for change, increase, decrease, and causes for given results. And the causes are from one as agent, and one experiences them, and one then finds oneself concerned with the mind.
뭐야 이게 다 강라 제가 가수의 고바 채워 이거 디제기 아니 랑기다 거기 로디 강을 고바 채워 이제 깨게 되게 로디 되가라 망에 깨게 이거 깨 나와 이거 아니 고 간다 깨 강에 매고 되게 자상 연구 요래서
By the force of the greater familiarity, by the greater force of habit, causes may be increased. Causes may come about with greater ease. One may face less in difficulty in bringing them on.
뭐야 다 되는데 다랑 강라 고바 이거 되게 로디 깨 나와 이거 인도 잡아 다 나중에 내 여와 다 계획 초들라 로디 가서 공부 있나야 계획 초 로디 다 깨라와 내라와 뭐 어디도 이다 공부 열어서
Wherever the habit is, then the mind is more there than elsewhere. And one would develop the familiarity with virtue so as to engage in virtuous karmas more readily. And one would do that through cultivating a familiarization with virtue.
어디도 이 지도는 계시도 미직 삼로 당당 임바이네 자 미직이 간단 거기 남주든 저버 거리바이네 미디 시가 야고요 미디 시가 야고요 말스 찍듯이 시제도 아니 내가 지단디 녀가랑 시가 있다 띵에 삼로 당다 대가 녀 시가 대가 있다 해도 그 간달 홀로 곰대와 인자 거기 셈이 삼로 당다 들고 저배 남주가 거기 랑신 차도도 디나신 디벨샤네 당한 쪽에 내 수주 거기 참주고 셈도 돈이 또 싫어요. 뭐 쇼청보여나 걸로도 나서 깨고와 엄마는 다 깨기 말아. 제가 당도 고배하게 치도라. 아니 당도 최 통보 퇴바다 삼바 고바스게 됐다. 냠내 고위 알아서.
A person in their habits of thought and behavior based upon their expressions and actions, we have what we need to characterize them as being of good character. And of a person reflecting on themselves, they will say, such and such a thing is in my character. This is my personality, both of which indicate where there's a habit, then there is the ready expression of the habit in expression and in action. We too would make a habit in the awakening mind of bodhicitta and shunyata, emptiness, so that these minds arise with ease, for without the habit and familiarization with them, they do not arise with ease. For the habit and familiarization, we study and contemplate and cultivate these, and thus the relevance of the training here.
야, 되기가 어디 간단하게 공부 때에 휴천 뭐 영화야 치도 냠냉이 치도라 아니 빼지나다 당고 거기 냠냉이 교육 원도 전에 퇴선 검숨스 냠냉이 제외 원도 전에 따봉 지었음스다 냠냉이 지나서 좀 버리 개체 뭐 임바다 들일단에 지고 이거 이제 아니 네 남자한테 송구 열어서
지난 남자 니버데 따봉 쬐송데 데 반지 케바 가르르
공부 지어봤어
데다 아니 퇴상 공숨비 케바
벌써 이제 거기에 들어와 한다 냠냉이 주의자
아니
딱 자와 냠냉모스 제약이
나서
자외자네 아니 따와도 공부 지어봤습니다.
And in this life, to make the forceful habit that we would, to that end, we follow the causes in practice, which are study, contemplation, and cultivation. Those causes which have their application in action, in view, cultivation, and action.
야, 다 안들로 주어 땅야 다 탑스나자 간들 냠내스나자 간들 고 따옴 쥐어서 너무 되선 보숨지 아니 되게 따옴 쥐고게 되선 보숨지 거네 아니 따와도 쥐어봐도 고바숨 냠내 따르 아니 다 셈바 주어 땅 거라스 셈디 주어 차나 아니 용하게 쥐어봐 줄래라 주주 거기 말을 까네 가요 말해서
It is the method to make the change, first to study, contemplate, and cultivate, and then in implementation to develop the view, conduct, and meditation in the application of the practice. In that application of the practice, in the view, in the cultivation, and in the action, through these, the mind is transformed. When the mind is transformed, the arising of a given mind takes no time at all and involves no trouble at all.
당한 저선 고성까지 우리가 보면은 저선 얘기가 따옴 쥐어서 따와 세리 따와서 따와 양다보다 따와니 치지로서 저기 따와 세대 차기 열어서
Having spoken of study, contemplation, and cultivation, turning to view and cultivation and conduct here, the view is either the perfect view or the improper view.
다 나는 간다 따와 양 타발라 로고 투로고 따와 친지로 되게 왕기 아니 맞았다 벤남도 마부게 남도 되게 왕기 아니 맞았다 동해 유미체가 용해야겠다 이해가 따와 친지로 되게 왕기 요구열에 손으시
Then the perfect, the correct view versus the incorrect view. The incorrect view, which entails the proliferation of discursive thought, that proliferated discursive thought causing uninterrupted pain, thus being the incorrect view.
제가 뒤에 먼저 따와 양다바 될다 공부치고로 와 따와 친질로 뒤파 그 장원체 따와 양다바 될라 공부치고로 와다 공세에 고 셈나 검제기 유디 셈다 수 예고스에 셈다 수 디버체바 양양 고 공부체 고 냠류여바 세바질라 공실라로 레손
Then in the view, a habit would be made of correct view and a elimination performed on the incorrect view. And that occurs through the cultivation of the correct view, the cultivation of the correct view, and integration of the mind with the object performed repeatedly to make for the experiential element of it.
예, 다 양양 저벌 제베가 아니 그 공부 범시 대하고도 유나 거는 쌤 가와이나랑 쌤 유라 피고 가와를 주고 있나랑 영화에 뭐 차기로 왔디 차도 아니 버거 줘봐 저 나가 줘봐 루이 줘봤을 때이 공백이 온게 아니 줘봐대 다 땡고 줘봐대 아니 줘봐대 간다 줘봐 상황 아니 장주생도 줘봐 생각다 줘봐 줘배 난 초도 줘봐 장주생 줘봐 생각돼 어디 차요 그래서 뭐지
If the habit has become strong, then whatever the object, the individual is able to determine how they engage with the object, and thus in action, in physical action and verbal action, by the force of habit, one engages in the conduct of the Bodhisattva, the most excellent form of action of all.
야, 딱 고매하기 최들라다 먼저 유 공부다 유제 공부도 용어서 고매하기다 저 리니 공나 망고 열때 이내다 저 리니 유 공부다 유제 공부 니 열에서 이 대해서 개발 열에서
When we speak of a habit of the object, a familiarization with the object, this is the familiarization with the object, and there is too the familiarization with the cognizer of the object. In cultivation or in habituation, there's habituation to the object and habituation to the cognizer.
유 공부스도 먼저 배나다 지당 먼저다 치기 카도다 소다 라바도 마모 고매 망고 열었다 근데 빼지나는 먼저 시야때 망체 당분 미다바 공부스도 아니 동이 공부스도 다음에 공부스도 되게 공부 이게 그거 유 공부 나를 열어서
Regarding the object, which one habituates to, they may be the forms and colors. They may be forms, colors, but especially in text, emphasized relevant here are impermanence as object, shunyata, emptiness as object, the absence of the self as object. These are habituations to object.
야, 근데 유고말해. 유고마세도 유곰단디 아니 그 진단기 유도 체네. 아니 수도 공개하더라. 그 유들 봐. 미벌 때는 그 가다 유고마 체제로 어디 공단들 해서. 진단기 유스.
In the cultivation of the object, this is the cultivation following the way in which a given apprehension apprehends the object.
유진 공부스도 먼저 장바 공부, 인지 공부, 장주고 셈 공부. 아니, 딱 먼저 람 공부를 망쳐야 돼. 아니, 유진 공부 나를 열어서
The habituation of the cognizer involves those meditations, namely love, compassion, the awakening mind of Bodhisattva. The many cultivations along the path are especially habituations or cultivation of the cognizer.
다지 미국 거기 난 다진 공단한테 가가라. 다진 미국의 유도 치는 공부를 왔다다디 셈코라 이 인지단 잠박에 뭘 받긴 군이 뭐 받직바 치는 공네 아니 수익 잠바들랑 셈들다 잠바다 인지도 주배 뭐 타대만 받직 치는 그 공네 아니 간제로 뭐 깨베 주지 공부했어 그래서
뭐 깨비 유래.
뭐 깨베 수익이 공부
The cultivations on the object are object-based upon the apprehension of the object. The cultivation of the cognizer in the development of compassion and of love is the cultivation of the means of developing the identical essence with the given motivation, given with the given mind, love, compassion, such that love and compassion is not seen as distinct or separate from the mind, but as of the very same identical nature.
다 그냥 아주 그냥 검단 찍 가려서 다 또 대니래다 이네 다양 아주 되게 람 빼나다 상계의 전주 세벌 규기 람들도 라라 공부로다 그다음 남지기 남바 공부다 시시 공부다 람시 공부서 람 망부 공매요와 다들 공부데 라라 마토바 토베치도니 람디 두세는 셈을 샤는 바르바신 고양 귤을 깨는데도 고마를 이내 람들이랑 로라 샤르바신 안도 신 고매 샤곰 체세도 되는데 샤르레소
아니 남편이 직접 아니 시시
람셰도
람
마찬가지로 매주
There are principally those two forms to cultivation, to meditation. Yet principle for us are meditations in the paths of the minds of Buddhas and Bodhisattva. These are what concern us in meditation, such as meditation on omniscience, on the knowledge of the path, these that are meditated upon to achieve the path, and the meditation in exercise is one of causing these very same paths of the Buddha and Bodhisattva to dawn in one's own mind, appear in one's own mind, to make them appear just the same in one's own mind.
세상살 검제 비유 검도 잡아다 간다 나땡이 진tum이 아니 직파게다 검 배슈 첨부자니 아니 지 검을 가오이니서 아니 대저 하거나 시다 편도 첨부 여러서
And in meditation, for the accomplishment of samadhi, for developing intensity in meditation, for the light exercise in meditation, knowledge of these is constructive.
뭐야 빨리 맞아 지용 지시도 대체 지시도 체 다땡아도 다 드린 땅아도 가장 검제가 다 검제라 땅아도 배나 랑기 류 수수기 류 내밥도 당고 내당서 야고 뭐 쳐봐 뭐 쳐봐지 아니 류 내당 야고 여봐 되듯이 아니 류기 나내다 검제가 치도록 류기 내당 그 대당다 아니 류거랑 그 당 최대나 그쪽가 차상 그래서 이제 상황도 여봐지 딱히 여변하는 딱히는 류기 나랑 가서 야마 야만 또 해야겠다 짜자 짜자도 지단도 짜가 대신 망보여다 다 이내가도 짜가 대신 망보여네 고 드링 짜가 되게 뭐하지 다 짜가 대신 고다 지단 공제하지도 다 짜的인지미지 야마 지가다 상보다 짜가 내단도 때때 심을 고여 짜가 내단도 야고 여발라 때네 다 가리용 거스나 짜나라 롱유 롱디랑 아주 다 정다를 치고 요새들 짜나라 짜디 야고 야마 정보 짜디게 내단 야고 뭐셔 봐요나 아니 디나라 짜다 롱칸데 도고 이거 롱칸데 상고 이거 롱칸데 스카고 이거 어디기디다 냠내 쳐야 그래서 시야 먼저 가서 트레이드 하디요 레송스
Now, for us, these are some general remarks. After these general remarks, now relevant to us today in our meditation is when we have in our bodies, in our physiology, that which is useful to employed in a fitness. We have all that is required for that in place in ourselves, in our physiology. Now then, we are concerned with the movement of moving winds along the channels in the body. And there are many various presentations of the movement of winds along the channels throughout the body, all of which we cannot go into just today. Generally speaking, in meditation, the extension and exercise of the channels is something one must be familiar with, for it is through the exercise of the channels to stretch them and lengthen them, to open them and straighten them, that we then open the way for the movement of winds along those channels, the movement up and down the channels, sending them up the wind, moving wind up and down the channels, and then controlling the wind in the channels. We now are concerned with what is left in the explanation of this.
Oh, yeah. That's Jang Koyadi, Semla, Namdo Yona Gatua, Semdi, Be Kadar Nedam, Rangi, but Sembi Tanzi to the Rangi Chaban Zintuba, Sem Kaw Shabu Yibes, Kaw Jobu Yimek, Kandesu Dugu Yimek, Kandes Patangu Yimek, Tinganzu, that Jang Koyadi. That is Jayala. 한번 룽을 때는 맞아와 쌤의 장사여 봐. 제가 룽 남자 장국이요. 그래서
Our reason for training in the moving winds is we would bring it into excessive discursivity of the mind and the assumptions of the discursive mind. And we would do so by directing moving winds, controlling moving winds. And we train in this for this reason. Any change that would be intended to happen in the mind does not happen unless going along the lines of the moving winds first.
Oh, yes, 세상에 이때마다 쌤이 당이 쌤이 되게 냠내게 그래서 약보지 영화 제발라 한번 룽이 들어다 되게 다 룽이 내다 되게 돼. 야보 뭐지 봐. 야보 당신 봐 직직체. 이 영화라 싸게 내다 되게 돼. 룽도 싸게 싸게 돼. 배 뭐서 되나라 룽도 당신다 당당 강가 신바세. 이 영화라 류기 싸게 내사게 댄사게 류디. 내가 대신 코드강에 야만 차단 저와 찍지를 봐도 돼야 돼요. 그래서
where the mind would be made serviceable in effective practice, it would be by the exercises of the mind, of the winds, moving winds. One must become familiar with the activity of the moving winds, the routes along which it travels, where it is located. And for this, an understanding of the channels that are the paths of the moving winds must be had as well. And for this, there must be familiarity with the body as a whole, for all of these are of a piece and connected.
다 버게 내다 되게 야고 여바 있는 다 뒤에 다 냠내 지원이 다 룽은 냠내 적으로 뭐 장사들 룽은 냠내 적으로 룽들라 뒤중앙적으로 제시제도 배상은 잡사로다. 자외 룽아 양라 룽아스. 어디다 그 배주 당사가 룽 되게 된 것은 그래서.
And so it is, and as the physiology is so, and the exercises are exercises of the moving wind as a basis for practice, you would then know the 5 basic winds and the 5 branches of the winds.
나 자외 룽아도 장가도 가서 게임부터 됐어 장가도 됐어 얘는 아니야 보여라. 가정도 장가도 되던 뭐 롱을 장가 가정 가게 다디는 개죽을 롱시게다. 개죽을 롱시게 손쟁의 롱시니제 냠내의 롱시 손제 아니 찹제의 롱제 아니 투세의 롱시 다저 롱가 명디 되래서
And we listed these 5 basic winds. When listing the 5 basic winds, there are these. Know these: the upward moving wind, the life-sustaining wind, the balanced wind, the pervading wind, the downward clearing wind. These are the 5 basic winds.
Oh yeah, 다 양라롱마데 장가 접생다. 다 양라롱마데 또 장가에서마도 지금 지나 배주다 그래서 제일 시적으로 왔다다디 양라롱마데 장가 잡아이나 아, 데레 당보들 롱 교화스 교화 롱 지제 넘버 교화 롱제 아니 양다바 교화 롱제 네버 교화 롱제 라브 교화 롱 롱마데 장가 민다샤요 그래서 장가도 뒤서
Ngapati?
라브 교화 롱스
The 5 branching winds and the function involved in them. The function will leave for later. To just identify the 5, they are the moving wind, the very moving wind, the perfectly moving wind, the definitely moving wind, and the exceptionally moving wind.
Oh, 나 다른 주체 장가데 그래서 바게 지금 제도도 까톡 대신에 야구요 해서
These then are the 5 branching winds, and to take these down in notes is constructive.
야, 딸롱아데 수부다나 르기 차시다나 롱아게 야메시도다 롱가사다 롱네사도 제 셰바이나 당보디 긴죽롱 타임바다 유롱 타임바 긴죽롱디 젬바요 더버니 젬바네 지우바도 디바로 네사 아까사 야메시도 데 네사 데 직체 이소 니바디 손징이 롱디 닝갈네 너만이 바로 다닝가요 닝갈네 다 되네 손바디 냠네 봐 냠네 때월네 때월 내봐세 다 되네 찹지기 놈들 다이 강상하다 예 여기 자식 강가라다 간다 찹아 네요 직세 다 되네 나바디 투세기 놈들 상네 내사데 좀 뭔가 내사게 사람들 때 시에요 해서
Of the 5 basic winds, the first, the upward moving wind, is located where the exercises of this particular wind occur are between the throat and the crown, for the upward moving wind. The second basic wind, the life-sustaining wind, is located at the heart. The exercise is there. The third, the balanced wind, is located at the navel. And then the fourth, the pervading wind, is distributed throughout the whole body in all of its parts. And the fifth downward clearing wind is located at the secret place here are the 5 basic winds, their location or the borders between them.
Oh, yeah. Huh? So that long okay, you that one down, that's so long. Gasas, long necessary that I think on to better tumble. My can you long the and the temper the tube or the eye or somewhere, Shuba. Oh, that about the tube or the long the year. That don't they do about that? Suzuki. Can you long the ten and it takes us to me what a gum chicken and long the temper car. And it's about a and Mazo, that's Suzuki, I did that. Take pocket, come to then the damage to your response.
Thinking along these lines, then, you're thinking of where the control of the breath occurs, the location of the particular basic winds. You're concerned first with the upward moving basic wind. As I've said now, the wind is that wind system between the throat and the crown of the head. That's the wind system there. And when this wind is the object of the meditation, then it is controlled at the throat, and then the object of meditation and the exercises are performed upon it there.
Oh, yeah, that was long temple garden. You know, cousin to the woman test Chesaka. I didn't drink one and Jujic Chen. Mazu cousin the Chagadi best. Cousin and Chagadi the long cousin use the Tata Chamidu. I drink out the long temple and long the ga. I mean, big brother, Yamlechidan chick, and the shake in his house.
In the last class, we exercised the control of the wind at the throat, and we will do so again because the motions which accompany it were not presented just right. Now we control the wind at the throat, have the object of the wind controlled there at the throat, and now I'll explain.
Oh, yeah, huh? She's over so she don't sit there. We killed her not done with that.
You interpreted the move tables and still in full Vajra position, they are not able to see my legs.
Oh, yeah, that. Any company, that was a luto in Namna. Tango the luto in Namna. Any dinner, Satoshi Kirum. That I'm luto Kirun, Satoshi Kirun, any lungo Kirum. 아니 딜레도 이기로 가진 것도 이 시기 어디나 이제 수수 수복이 되고 이해나 아니 대가란 대도나 배편도 전부 열아니 수수 되오면은 수고 받게 되고 이해 봐 수고 가게 되어 이거 대가란 지난 되고 그래서
The body is in the Vajra posture as a whole. The channels are in Vajra posture. The winds are in Vajra posture. The drops in Vajra posture. If one is well enough to do so, adopting the Vajra posture is constructive. If one is not able to make oneself comfortable as one needs.
Oh yeah,
Make 2 fists of the 2 hands. And place it at the thighs. You have got to take notes, so to speak. You need a straight spine.
Oh yeah, that those and those odi. That's the Uganga 10 to the Matu Susu, that's Juan Rally. O Kazu 10 to do to 10.
Then one will be able to inhale more or less, depending on how one is able to inhale, whether they're able to inhale a full breath or not. In any case, inhale as much as one can.
Oh yeah, that Tamo Ali Umatang, I come on the Geshe, and a jelly on the Yamdo Uten chicken.
Wait, don't inhale just yet. I'll explain the exercise and then we will all at once and together go into the inhalation.
Oh yeah, that time with you on the target to shake your one. It is a month, so good 都是这老把你的投出去对杠下，俺那屋里都是要天天真把了 gas， 真把了 gas 他说呢，俺那都是搞的多，哦，这都是搞了，俺这说是俺家啊，我这见过了，俺家啊，俺忙成嘛了，怕俺从俺搞的。
Now the upright, then one inhales and then shall we do three movements of the head in this way, or five? 3 or 5 here, we'll do 5. Yep, wait 1 moment, we're going to do it all together at once a bit later.
Oh yeah, that day is about those people to look at the start to come to start them with you was some. Would they only for a day to the day with nothing but and it do to put there. They are 10 and it those ones some comments on this to which he does. Yeah, so it's common to go this one.
Then we're explaining the motions here first, and one is straightened and will inhale, and inhaling will control the breath at the throat, and then one is to rotate their head in this way. And at first, before one is very comfortable, one may do this more quickly than they will later when they've grown accustomed to the motion, and then one may do it more slowly.
Yeah, now
sit in the posture as described, and now here we go. 1, 2, 3. Sit upright and erect, and 1, 2, 3, 5. Now we go in reverse, counterclockwise. 1, 2, 3, 5. Now slowly exhale.
Oh yeah, that is it. Some Uma Tang to do the money. That's some not so Dong Sang some Tang or Dong Sang some Tang.
And as one exhales, one thinks of a purified emptiness pervading.
No, Dong Sang still.
The appearance of empty purity.
Oh yeah, that is the Chaya Chevra, you know, Ludi Mata, Lula. It's the watching what it's young set the was.
And the experiences of bliss, and the appearance is of pure emptiness.
That is young set the watching young son. Niengola, that I see me was, Chetam Jitana, the day can up the loom that they can up that I see Murango me by ye, I think me by ye some Niengo I see me was, this is one.
And following the experience of bliss, then this is followed by the recognition of absence of intrinsic nature to either the channels or the winds, to both the absence of the intrinsic nature of these.
Oh yeah, that is that. But now Dong San, Niengola, Dewa Chip Dewa, that was Dewa Chimbus, Mingdana, Dewa Chimbus, Mingdana, Dewa, any Niengola, Shimeba, Sumgi, Mon Tatu Bati, any bed Mambala, Suzuku, Sanji, only Chugudi, some or the Lady Summer Tango response.
And then one must think that here in these three, in the pure emptiness, and in the experience of great bliss, and in the recognition of absence of intrinsic nature, in the three together, is that very event of oneself achieving the Buddha body.
Oh yeah, that's so trading on some tanga inaya. Ani page request tawa. Ani jo almost be mi pa sewa. Ani ji rangi lebe gi nedan do zulu be pendo chimbo shira yoba. I think san chiri de shema wuje ge yore sonochi.
And today, scientists observe that there are observable benefits to these exercises for physical fitness, for the functioning of one's brain, and for greater clarity and lucidity in thought.
저선 땅 먹고 대세 땅 먹고 봐. 아니 뭐 첨바 tempo 그 템포 용야. 아니 미과 검제도 미과 세보 용야. 아니 지 레벨 나나 지금 내 나서 당도야 저 레벨도 돼. 거기 짱마 차야 되는데 팽기 유나도 하장 편도 심보로 왔거든. 지토는 편도 심보 도와서.
And if with no expense involved and no great time involved, one is able to see improvements in their own mental functioning, have greater clarity and lucidity to one's thoughts, and help to treat the diseases of the brain itself through these exercises, it's apparent that the exercises are to one's advantage.
예, 다 간다 조디다 냠내 조 치고에디다 가레스나 당을 못하게 사기 냐 내조 범예도 임바이나타 아니 즉 자주 생비 냠내 지금 임바이나야 다 간다 룽 냠내 치고도 아니 룽이 냠내 제하게 다 내가 찍고 다 대시들에서
And from the standpoint of practice, both for the meditation in deity visualization and in the meditation in the awakening mind of Bodhisattva, these exercises in the movement of the winds are constructive in both.
예, 다 니바도 손질 룽생데 손질 룽들라다 지단 차라고 뭐들 가지 그림식이와 dürimşiyeti da çetal doğdu sonzing lunde stung amato sonzing lunde chate yo resons.
Next, this is followed by the life-sustaining wind, and in our characterization of dissolution stages, it is of dissolution stages involving the life-sustaining wind, which is the mother of all the winds.
야. 당당한 그 롱라고 유표주 당의 우야 당 마당 제다 나도 망세 손진 롱라고 차다 다 손진 롱 참어디 그 생각도 들음 타마도 아마도 레비요 말해서
Inhalation, exhalation, respiration, these are the activity of the coarser activities of the life-sustaining wind, and it isn't until the final stages of dissolution that the subtle life-sustaining wind is involved.
야. 손진 롱 내서 인가를 내그랬어 이봐다 인가라 다지 롱 까다 다지나 시지야 가서 저거 대단하다 다지나 이제 삼고 땅 아니 삼고 대단하다 저거 되지 아니 롱디 가서 인가를 가 인가 무슨 인가를 다 인가를 롱 가가 되긴다 되사게 아마도 인가를 열어서 롱 가가 인가를 해야 돼 와, 롱 야돼 여기 말은 텐 인가를 롱 까고 해서
Yeah,
야, 롱도 다 강아야 야네 만약에 롱가가 저들 네가 내가 템보서 템보로 와. 그래서 이 롱도 네가 가고 해서
The life-sustaining wind is located at the heart, as I mentioned, and there the life-sustaining wind is controlled, and the life-sustaining wind in control at the heart is the control at the heart of the life-sustaining wind that is involved in all the wind systems, as all the wind systems are withdrawn to the heart. all dissolve there, withdraw there to the heart.
야, 다 롱니가 그 드셔 봐서 다 아주 양 권내지
Now here of the life-sustaining wind exercises, we will begin at the beginning with the gestures and motions involved. And now, as said, as said, make a fist of both hands, but inserting the thumb inside the fist. Then extend the fists closed around the thumb directly forward in this way, and then withdraw them to here, and then inhale and control the wind at the heart, and then release the fifth fist of the right hand and go into the motion that was demonstrated last week like this, doing 5 repetitions of it, and then follow that with 5 repetitions with the left hand. And if you are well enough to, as you do so, you may move your body about. Here we go. Do this with your hands, and we will do the inhalation. Now, as you withdraw the hands here, do your gradual inhalation. Control it at the heart. Now begin the movement of the hand. Now do 5 repetitions of the motion. Now extend the left arm. Return the hands to the plate. Now, as a beginner here, release the breath. But for one who had greater practice, they keep the breath held and go into this motion with the shoulder. We'll count again, 1, 2, 3, put the hands in place, and then we'll go through the motion together. Let's do that. Yeah. 1. 2. 3. 4. Left. 1. 2. 3. 4. Now release the breath. 인간을 너무 저래 다지나시 미과 지과적으로 동 나와 동상 영어 영어 전부 아니 영어를 심해 봐 아니 대수기 뭐 탈투 바디 아니 나랑 톱자기 추구디 있으면 미과 지구로 해서 And in the same way as the previous exercise, as one exhales, then the exhalation is accompanied with the appearance of pure emptiness, and the accompanying experience of great bliss and the awareness of that great bliss lacking intrinsic nature. And the result of these three together, the resultant state for oneself of Taputtavadi.
Oya tingado di ing kala di ingo lawa inde shebadi ninga loa niga la ya dos pa kachejane lungi yama toya kita luze chadeyor. Ezan di ganzo ta tseri tone keji shenyi zo de shi kari jegdo lana ani jik page chödengi chane tseren go yoyada. Ani jik page lu dewo yoyada to chöden kechen bu shiu zin de shi jegdo songs.
The purpose to the movement of the arms in the way demonstrated is within the chest, space is opened up between the lungs and the heart, and space is opened up, and conversations among scientists describe that such exercises may lengthen one's life and create a greater physical well-being in life.
콘도 차게디 된 거는 지금 콘도 나와 인데시 나와 차게 인데시가 어디지도 되시디 되기도 소.
And the motion that they especially are describing is not just like we do, but that motion like this with the benefits that they describe.
야, 되네 다 수바디 이러와 냠네 롱스. 냠네 롱스에디 다저 커네 오스나 냠네 롱디 떼월. 떼월들 가지고 다 직박에 최기에 내도 떼월을 요베다. 아니 냠네 롱디 떼월 고고요래 손스.
The third, the balanced wind is located at the navel, and the heat source for the body, and the meditation on the balanced wind is the meditation at the navel.
아주 또 야고 얘는 아니 아주 세 사주 강에면 뭐세 슈르와 단데 보다 거기 수북이 나게 찍하게 다 그 계고야 마 슈르고야 그다 내가 망고지 뒤보라게 내도 대화를 계기 열와 세 슈르 디나신 아주 대화를 스트레이 계발 된 트야 예 바로라 때니 아니 말아서 거기다 냠는 게 똑바야 바 아니 남는 똑바야 바리운데 아니 거기 뉴몬스 마다 슈와죠 다세 슈와지 뉴몬 슈르고 제가 네 지역이 된 냠는 가가 될 배송 정책이 열에 손스
The heat with its source in the navel, when exercised, improves digestion, allowing for better processing of foods, and the meditation in producing heat at the navel is used to further the development of realization for the processing of mental afflictions, which are characterized by way of the illustration of the digestion and processing of food, but here for the processing of afflicted minds.
냠랭이 장주고 셈 공부할 때는 아니 다 되자 콩도 쉬워서 되자 쉬워 되자 쉬워서 쉬워를 그래 쉬워를 그래 안지 두수가가 냠랭 또 바로 때는 연구를 하잖아 또 때는 저 때문에 저를 때는 다 세슈가 나시 되자 쉬워 뉴모시 콩도 쉬워다 이게 가 냠랭 해야 열해서
But the course of meditation in the awakening mind of Bodhisattva, the anger is melted away, is processed, is digested. The desirous attachment is processed, and likened then is the development of heat from the source to the digestion and processing of food.
야, 나한테 너무 대화를 아니, 다시 라바니도 없다. 돌리기름체 라바니 고주지 되는지 아니 소부도 장보지 안도 다 도와도 꼬라서 도 Now, what a year goes soon, Japanese ones.
The wind is controlled at the navel, the body is adopted Vajra posture. The body is erect, and then the navel, a rotation is made in the rightward direction, followed by the left. The fiscal here. First 5 rotations in the right direction. Having inhaled and controlled the breath at the navel, then one begins the rotation to the right. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, we can't with very great intensity meditate in this way, but one develops an intensity in the meditation in this way. Now the fourth, that is the pervading wind, which is throughout the entire body. As it's throughout the entire body, then the object of the meditation then is on the entirety of the body. Now, then the 5 limbs of the body and the stomach and all of the rest, then one begins in the motion accompanying the exercise by rubbing one's hands together, just as one rubs hands together when they're cold to rub some heat in, and in that way then one rubs the entirety of the body in this way. And this is done while the inhalation is controlled and the object, the entire body. Here we go, we'll do it 5 times. 1, 2, 3. Inhale and meditate on the breath. 1. Again from the top. 2. Here we go to the third. 3. 4. 5. Release the breath. And just as before, accompanying the exhalation is the appearance of pure emptiness, and with the accompanying experience of great bliss, and the awareness of the absence of intrinsic nature to it, and the recognition that one's own present body finds in its resultant stage the very state of the Buddha body.
다 가마디 돌셀로 맞아 다마 다만 보고 되게 마다 유난 매장도 마 대도에 롱들 돌셀로 피고다 다 돌셀로데 상내를 공가 그래서
And the fifth is the downward clearing wind, the wind involved in the expelling of excrescences and things by a downward force. Now the exercise on the downward clearing wind.
다 그거 제들 롱디 상내를 가 아니 다 자제디 배모도 산남랑도시 모두 지 주인도 공유 되는 저도 주요처들다 마마셔로 말로 버시는 공투가 저들 어디 나가 이해가 또 봤던 안도 사람이 오래 손었어 이 나오는 제 사람아
너지 길전데 책을
기름 마신 적 있어요
마시나
기름 빼빼면 나 기름 마셔도 병도 지내지
네. Machina. Then one inhales, and then the motion is one will hold the end of one's knee, and then revolve, holding onto the knees, so the hands hold together this way, and then pull on the knee. And one does this on the right and on the left. Now we do the right first.
Yeah.
One. Three. Left. Four. Five.
저 산에 거 뭔가 아니 맞죠 다 간다 된다도 도주 들으셔야 거 한데 저라도 말씀 아버지도 마셔도 까토야 냐내지 아니 까니 마네 이 라기 류이다 그게 코아도 내가 막 상대는 막법 양양도 들으셔야 미워 체제를 해서
Kodense mar var ne yarten.
Ma papro.
Kone mar.
Onta kod ma papro, ma papro, ma papro. Ni ya do. Salung tu ta lung zu ma pap ya do. Se por eso lo otri. Mi va yo a chido eso.
The motion the motion to hold the knee then is part of the retention of the breath, the control of the breath being exercised at the secret place. And in this too, the seminal element descends from the crown of the head and descends, and then it's reversed and climbs again. And the control of that is demonstrated in part in the holding of the knee and the restraint in that. And the exercise is in the movement of winds upward and then move downward, controlled, and the control of upward movement and downward movement is in this exercise.
And this is Nima Chajin Chituna. And Lula and Semla pen, Yamlenda pen, pay up your response.
And as you see, the motions are not so difficult, and they're beneficial for general physical fitness, for overall health, and they are also constructive to practice. So were they to become part of a daily routine, then the advantage would be yours both for physical fitness and mental fitness.
아니야, 남자가 대샤 아니 둘다지로 냠내치 아니 제마들만 무튼 쉬쳐가지 그런 거 대 잠샤 아니야 계제 최고에는 주소가만 가지 두고
And we will conclude here, and then these exercises will be your exercises for the week, and then we will allow us to continue next week. And now, concluding here, as there are a couple of minutes, we can open for Q&A.
Yeah, yes, some of the chat. Yes.
Just a few points of clarification. When we move in the life supporting wing, that we move the shoulders. So when we move the shoulders, there's, forward, and there's another way is backward. So which way do we move the shoulder? The same thing with the balance wing. When we move the hip, we lean toward the right hip with and supposed to rotate 5 times on each side, but do we rotate it forward or backward? I mean, there are so I would like to be clear on that. And so that's my first question, and I have a second question.
The salt along the and it's the Zambala. That's also get chop the you down you could have got a gabra. And the dun chop so any got a gab go Yaman gabchola. And they did not take a chicken, did not take a chicken, and it's so Yamnegi long the Zambala, the Chigodi, and the dun chop so and got a chicken gabra Yaman gabchola. Oh, the Now, this is for the shoulder. The hand is planted this way, and so now in this motion, do you see which direction do you see? That's the motion.
So I see that you move forward first, then bring it back.
That's it. That's it. Right, and we're only able to do this modest motion, but with greater experience, we'll be able to make it the greater motion in that. Didn't show, right, that's it.
So then the same thing with the hip.
And really what you're moving is your belly. In the balanced wind exercise, you're moving your belly. And you really have got to control the moving wind there.
So then with the downward movement, when you hold your knees like this, it's also forward first. Yeah.
틀스기 롱디 장도 담라야 디 담보디 든 쇼츠 안 코르시 갸브로. But when you say move forward first, you're moving right clockwise.
Yeah, right. Clockwise, yes.
So we move without great experience in this. We move the whole body, but really, what you're moving is your stomach area. That's it.
Yes, thank you so much.
A question just about when we're visualizing the drops from the crown. Is there a particular color, and are we thinking down to the secret place and then back up in the count of 5?
코디 코람나네 코디 아니 치원의 말 슈네 말 밥도 잠발라 데 천시 총독직 아니 맥바 직 장그룹에 전도 아니 디야 아니 디 맞아 아니 사르나디 아니 디 겹기로 아니 데도 아니 말 밥네 야르 티 차상와 직 제고 그래 아니 장그 나 긴낭라
천도디 천도 안에 당부 내 당부 검도 당부 천도 마고도 검도 건도 검에 요래 내 당부 안에 천도 공유 많고 룽코랑 삼다는 막 룽마 파백 삼다 룽지나 룽코랑 룽나가 천도 깨지 시에요 이거는 또 제일 시에지 들은 시에 먹어지 아니 잘 나도 시리즈마다 잘을 삼다는 말 땅아주 알을 수수게 룽데 까 자주 잡아 아니 샘도 당부 룽데를 조비 룽코나 가서들 샘바 내버시 야고 kom 아니 가로질라 룽파게 야고 삼당 두고도나 아니 지네다 수수 삼마다 대화 바짝세로와 동바야 저야게 저게 벌어 때는 아니 애니마도 대화슈 대 거기 동배 그래야 봐 대화도 마슈 대화 바짝치 항상 어쨌든 냠내시야 또 바짝치야지 들어다 동바야 봐 아니 대화도 마슈 아니 대단 이 냠내시더래 다들 대신만 보여 드리는 그래서 방금 말해서
예 There is a color, however, in the beginning to meditate on the wind itself without characterizing it by color is advisable. The wind descends. Conceive of the descent of the wind, because there are colors to all of the winds. Therefore, we'll leave the coloration of the winds for now. One has controlled the moving wind at the secret place. That's where it's retained and controlled there, and then it is in place there and generating heat there. The generation of heat is the generation of realization. The generation of realization melts the bliss at the crown, which then descends. And there are a lot more by way of explanation of the process, which we'll leave for now, for there's no time for that just now.
Yeah,
Quick clarifying question. For the life-sustaining wind exercise, this and then into the shoulder, is that one breath and one exhale?
아니 소생기롱 아니 찾아야지 아니 디야 아니 차바디 유거레 디야 차바디 유거레 말하다 다데 말하다 아니 라바디 유거레 되네 차바디 유거레 니가 디 아니 욱 칙라 욱 중업 칙라 아니 디 장로
장은 우찌가 쳐버렸어 제일 찍려야 돼 이네 단단하서 우간 내가 유를 붙이 두고면 동바 벌길 동바 샤래 셴 온지는 니가 냠도 열에서 왔어
if you're able to in one breath, then you do in one breath. We can't exercise so long on one breath, so we interrupt it with a gap and then do the second. And then when you've grown more accustomed to the exercise, then you do it all at once. For those of you engaged in generation stage practices, you divide up the 24-hour day into long parts and exercise during long durations.
Thank you for the teaching, Geshe. Just to be clear on the downward clearing wind, it's generating heat in the secret place and melting the drops where exercise exercising the wind moving up and down the body, but am I to just focus on the secret place and don't think about the drops coming down or the heat going up and focus on the wind going up and down? Just keep the focus in the bottom.
다드네요. 데이서시 나와를 치워디 슈유. 아니 지단데 아니 상내라 아니 롱디카네. 디야 아니 디 쳬디 바네. 디 아니 데와디 슈네 마르밥 용으로와. 얘는 데 공격도 상발라디 롱디 상내라 아니 조거 아니 미그르베 이 양미나 아니 롱야르 땅 마르텐야 Layang mekpa chego gurbe diang ane di shune di mar babsu diang mekpa chego gurbe yangmena ane sangne rang la ane mekpa ane kyangne gongbo gurbe
육바지 다 얘는 바자를 세우고와 이는 룽가사 저와 이 상내를 까 룽들 파게까 아니 미바디 다부 마음도 거 대서 막그 지구를 다 수수쌤 그때 제발로 파게 템포 룽들 막가 까 두고 얘나 아니 쌤 미바디 다 이만 대화도 마 쉬네 근데 대화도 마 자네 마밥 두고 대화 마밥 두고 왔어 그래서 그 미바 제디 바자들 삼 미바 타도 미바디 바자 제들에 이내 딸롱드 가사데 거기 상내를 가와로 와서 상내도 봐 칠도 맞고 진대 가셔 그래서
So really the place where the control of the wind is exerted is the secret place. That's where the wind is controlled. Then, but the object of the meditation is throughout the body. When the wind is well controlled there at the secret place, then the objects may be moved in the body to involve the descent of bliss. Ultimately, the wind is controlled at the ignition point of the secret place, but the object of meditation goes on in the descent of bliss in the body.
남상 비용 콜다 리버도 카시 여러 아니 좀 어디 제일 봐 디디 파나 롱 두른 그림 하나로 만데 시 그래 손으로
There's lots more to that besides involving the ordered process in these as well, and in the withdrawal of moving winds. There's more to be explained. Now, as time is up, then please allow us to close with these prayers.
아니 지금 이거 때문에 용해야 당 아니 지금 수수기 니만 냠내 용해 지도는 찾아야 되겠다. 지금 밖에 내 채월인데 인지미지 한 차게 채들 공부하는데 말해서.
So now in the motions involved in this, these are mainly for the purpose of stabilizing the object of meditation and to involve you in daily activity in this way, but it's not absolutely indispensable, these motions. For a beginning person, they prove to be very helpful. They're constructive for the person starting out. Then when daily one does do these exercises for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, if they are done, then they are beneficial for one's physical fitness, mental fitness. They serve to support practice, and there's nothing lost when they are done. Now allow us to recite the prayers. Tene rindu bele zonye nye kadar yamba kanche zabare lome mare ge don rowa ye nane jawe obo da yuji ema sumbe sera kundu yang jambe yange tewe jesone tembe remba kuzan lange jo yene rube gena nije jo range jishin tobe lange de shura tewe rambe takege rove yiji mba seje ne gyawe temba yurin zingyuji temba rinjin choge ma kyamba kyabgyan yambar gyurve cholene inje chembe yira gyawa ye pende teje sewa cheba sho seje gyawe menjo chile le chanjo lamje rembe gyan tadu nange yila bele Gyawe zewa rindu gyongyo je, Langzang drube tungen roje je, Gege seje midang mimebo, Tsera kundu gyawe maba yi, Namda lamdang drewa magyo je, Kangse teba shula shushu je, Sujin rula zumba de yi se, Tude nanje tato roje je, Rashi gyaso chogun gyagiro je. From my two collections, vast is space that I have amassed, from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose mind's wisdom eye is blinded by ignorance. Even if I do not reach this state, may I be held in your loving compassion for all my lives, Mantra Shri. May I find the best of the path of the complete teachings, and may I please all the Buddhas by practicing. Using skillful means drawn by the strong force of compassion, may I clear the darkness from the minds of all beings, with the points of the path as I have discerned them. May I uphold Buddha's teachings for a very long time, with my heart going out with great compassion, in whatever direction the most precious teachings has not yet spread or once spread have declined. May I offer this treasure of happiness to aid all sentient beings. May the minds of those who wish for liberation be granted bounteous peace, and the Buddha's deeds be nourished for a long time, by following the complete graduated path to enlightenment, and the wondrous virtuous conduct of the Buddhas and their sons. May all human and non-human beings eliminate adversity, and make things conducive for practicing the excellent paths, never be parted in any of their lives from the purest path raised by the Buddhas. Whenever someone makes effort to act in accordance with the tenfold Mahayana virtuous practices, may he always be assisted by the mighty ones, and may oceans of prosperity spread everywhere. Inye sabe gewandi, tendang rowa kunla kang tendang. Kebare jezin lo zon jabaye, tembe nyumbo rindu senje jo. Kare rawe kore shikande, bendande wa malu jungwene. Shere se wan tenzin gyasoye, shabe sidi barlu tengyu je, jambe bawu jira kembana, kundu zambu deyan te sende, tenda kunji jesu nalo je, gewa de da tamje radumo, luzun shebe gewa tamje ge, moa ganda shodu nambane, lage gewe tawa diguryan, sambo cheji radu mowarge, chanjo semcho remboche, mage banan ge yuji, gewa nyamba meboyan, kone kondo bewaran isho. I dedicate whatever virtues I've ever collected for the benefit of the teachings and of sentient beings, and in particular for the essential teachings of Venerable Losang Drakwa Shine Forever. In a land encircled by snowy mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good, all powerful sinners, within and council. Please remain until cyclic existence is ended. Just as the brave Manjushri and Samantabhadra do, realize things as they are. Also, I dedicate all these merits in the best way, that I may follow their perfect example. I dedicate all these roots of virtue, with a dedication praised as the best, by the victorious thus gone ones of the three times, so that I might perform the noble Bodhisattva's deeds. May the supreme jewel Bodhicitta that has not arisen arise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish but increase more and more. Thank you, and to all of you, good night, and thank you.